Hi, do you want to release negative energies and emotions attached to past relationships? Then welcome to this video. We're going to be talking about hoʻoponopono and going through the process. Now, my name is Shannon Boyd, and as an NLP practitioner and a hypnotherapist, I'll be guiding you today. Hooponopono is a process that derives from ancient Hawaiian wisdom, or huna. It's a symbiosis of both mental and energetic processes, and it helps release yourself from the entanglement of other energies that you may have passively taken from people you've come across, or the passing of people from this realm to the next, the ones that you loved, and the actions that those people may have done that could affect you. So Hooponopono is often referred to as the Hawaiian code of forgiveness. And we believe that when you bring balance into your life, you are then in a position to forgive others, as well as yourself. Now, ho means to make, and pono means right. So Hooponopono literally means to make right, twice. And Hawaiians believe that anytime you interact with somebody or connect with somebody, you create an energetic connection between you and that other person. And that the connection carries the energy of the relationship that you are having or that you've had, okay? It carries the energy of the emotions, the feelings, the words exchanged, the actions, the behaviors, all of those things that were done to you or that you did to them, okay? It's all carried in there, it's in that energy. And so they believe that this powerful process has the ability to cut that energy, to sever that cord. Sever the cord that connects you to the other person. Now, even if you love the other person, you can still cut the cord, because cutting the cord doesn't mean that you're cutting them off or out. It doesn't mean that you're shutting them off or that you're removing them from your life or that you're never going to connect with them again. It simply means that in this moment right now, you are cutting that energetic connection. The connection that may be holding you back, okay? Now, the Hawaiians believe that the energy bonds connect you at the front of your forehead here, right about where some envision the third eye. They connect you to the other person via what looks like a silvery thread. And that goes from you to every single person that you've ever met or ever interacted with. Imagine if you could see a cord connecting from you to every person you've ever known. And in that cord, there's an energetic flow, an exchange of energy. So for example, look at this. If you're in a higher vibrational energy than someone else, they may drain your energy. They're going to get energy from you. It's a little like those games or images where you see lots of buckets filled with water and then pipes connecting each bucket. And the water goes from the top, balancing out through all the buckets so that it can try and get equal in each bucket, yeah? So same thing with energy. It means these people will probably really enjoy being around you because your bucket is energizing them, but you may not enjoy it as much because your bucket's being empty. Have you ever been around someone and the vibe around them feels low? This is what I want you to understand this. It feels low initially, but then it picks up. However, you start to feel low. And sometimes you feel really low, stressed, depressed. Well, those people that are like that, they're called energy vampires. You know, the ones where the very minute they come into the room, you can just feel the energy go to them. Your supply drops, your bucket empties a little, and they come into the room, and now you're connected to them. You feel their energy. So the Hawaiians created this process of cutting what they call the aka cords. So the aka cords, aka the aka cords, provide a highway or a mode of travel for the energy that they envision is all around us. Now, many people think of this as an energetic energy or process, especially the Hawaiians that practice huna. They believe that there is an actual energy, an invisible energy force that connects with every other person in the world or the universe. And some people just believe that this is simply a mental process. Maybe there is no such thing as energy. And look, we don't really know. There's no way to prove it. So what we say is that this is simply a synergistic symbiosis that combines both energy processes and mental processes. And whichever one you choose to consider in order to release yourself and free your mind from the actions of other persons, whether it be energy-based or mental, either way you can regard this as a powerful process, okay? Now, all you have to do during this video, or audio if you're listening on the MP3, is just sit back, relax, and listen to the words. It really doesn't matter if you're a good visualizer or not. I might, during the process, tell you to imagine that you can see what a person looks like. And some people say, I'm not a good visualizer, but that's okay. Because we know from the field of NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, that everybody is visual to some extent. Yes, some people are more auditory. So in other words, they'll process thoughts through sounds. And some people are more kinesthetic, which means that they process their thoughts with their feelings, like internally. But it doesn't really matter if you think you can visualize or not. Just go along with the process, okay? It will work. There's a couple of ways you can do this. The first way is start with people who have perhaps hurt you, or maybe made you sad or made you feel depressed. Any kind of negative emotion. And if you have a negative connection with somebody, you could go through and cut all those negative cords. Usually what we do in this case, where you want to do that, is to start with the person who has the most negative energy or the most negative connection with you. We cut their cord, okay, or your cord. And then we'll move down to the next person, and the next, to the next. And all you have to do for each additional person is just come back and listen to me again in this video, or this audio, as I said, if it's an MP3, from where we start the process, okay? Now, the other thing you can do, and this is more of the kind of energetic or spiritual practice of Huna, this is what most people do, is you choose to cut the cord with everybody. Now, this is a really powerful process, and I highly, highly suggest that everybody do it at least once, okay? Because remembering, cutting the cord doesn't mean you're cutting the person off or out of your life. It simply means that in the moment of now, you are cutting that energy so that the two of you are no longer connected. In any moment, you can easily reconnect with them again. You can have a conversation with them. You can text them. You can get on Facebook. You can spend time with them. You can even simply focus your thoughts on them. We believe, and it's often proven, that these simple actions can recreate that connection. So you could start with your most significant energetic connection, which, with insight from my own mentor, I now believe would probably be your mother. And this is regardless of whether you knew her or not. It's simply because you spent 40 weeks in her womb. And then after your mother, maybe your father or another significant parent. And then probably your life partner. Then brothers, sisters, and just sort of go down the line from there. Work from the most significant connection all the way down to the least significant, like your ex. Now, that being said, I would suggest coming back and refreshing the energy of all your past relationships. Doesn't matter how short or little or hurtful or irrelevant or insignificant. Now, for example, let's say you deal with someone on a regular basis and the energy between you is feeling strained. You're feeling a little stressed out whenever you're with them or thinking about them. So cut the cord. When you sever that aged energy, that energy that contains both positive and negative experiences, it's simply like pushing reset. And then the next time you meet them, a fresh new connection starts up. That way you can really enjoy being around them, and again, they'll really enjoy being around you. So it's a really simple process, and we're going to go through those steps now. So, just find a nice, comfortable place to sit. Relax. Close your eyes and take a deep, cleansing breath. So as I said, sit back and relax, taking in those nice, deep breaths. And as you exhale, I want you to let all of your thoughts drift out of your mind with that breath. That's right. Take another nice, deep breath in. And this time as you breathe out, let all your worries and cares go with that breath out. That's good. One more deep breath this time. And as you exhale, add all the stress in your body to that breath out. Let all the tension go to that outgoing breath. Relax, keep your eyes closed. Now I want you to imagine yourself in a large theatre, and you're right about in the middle, like in the center of the rows. And up in front of you is a stage. The front of the stage is really brightly lit by lights, and the back of the stage is darker, and it extends back as far as you can see. On the back of the stage, you notice silhouettes of people, thousands of people. These are everybody you've ever met, everybody you've ever had a relationship with or even interacted with. And they're all off in the distance, in the darkness. Now you can't really see their features, but you can see those silhouettes. That's everybody you've ever met. Now notice that there's a silvery cord that connects from you at your forehead or third eye to their forehead or third eye. Each and every person has their own thread, their own connection of energy with you. And this thread is unique to you and them. Now I want you to ask a person to come to the front of the stage. And whoever you bring out in a minute, you'll want to cut the cord with them. Whoever you want to do this process with. Ask that person now to come to the front of the stage. Come to the front of the stage, into the light. And as they come into the light, I want you to see them, see their features, notice what they look like, hear their voice exactly the way you remember it, exactly the way it sounds. Feel the feelings of their presence. Now I want you to ask this person a simple question in a minute. It's a question we always ask people when they come to the front of the stage. And I want you to just notice their response. Ask them this question. Are you here to fully support me in being the most magnificent person I can be? Now listen to their response. Sometimes we have people who in life are willing to support us. They want us to be the best version of ourselves. And sometimes we have people who don't. Whatever their response was, whether it's positive or negative, maybe it was a response you expected, maybe it was a surprise. It's up to you now as to whether you want to proceed and cut the arca cord, the silver cord. If you choose not to cut the cord with this person, simply dismiss them back to the stage, to the back of the stage, and bring somebody else up. Simply restart this video or this audio from when we entered the theatre and the music started, and repeat the process with the next person. If you do choose to cut the cord, then we can proceed from here, okay? So as they stand there in front of you, I want you to just notice them. I want you to think about who they are, not just about the things that they've done to you or you to them, but think about who they are as a whole, where they've come from, their history, the challenges they may have had in their life, problems they may have overcome or may still need to overcome. And as you look at this person, I want you to notice this person may have had a difficult life or a tough life. They might have had some ups, probably some downs. And I want you to see them as the whole person that they are, not just the person you interacted with. Notice everything about them, all the way back to their childhood, their complete innocence. And notice that in the womb, at some point, there was a spark of life that was put inside of them. Some of us may call that spark of life a soul, an energy, an essence. Whatever it is that you believe it is, notice that that's part of life, and that was put inside of them. It was pure innocence. It was put here on this earth to have experience, and that throughout that experience there would have been some positive things that happened. There would have been some negative things that happened. And these are the things that shape who that person is. Everybody has their own story. You do. And it's because of that that we start to realize that everybody is doing the best they can with the resources they have available, the insight they have, with the choices from the past. Some people even have to deal with chemical imbalances, among other things that pose challenges. So what I'd like you to do now, as you look at that person, I'd like you to say something out loud to them in a moment. And I'd also like you to send the energy of this message that we're about to say down the cord, filling their body with energy. The first message I want you to say to them is, I love you. Say, I love you. Now, if you can't bring yourself to love the person as they are right now in their current incarnation, then see that spark of life we've just discussed, the one that was put inside of them, that light that was put there by God or the universe, the collective, the loved light source, the divine, whatever you would choose to label it. But see that light, that person's purity at the energetic level. Recognize that it was only through the complications of being on earth and being in a physical body and perhaps being in situations that were not beneficial to them. Recognize that all that is perhaps why they became the person they are now. And say, I love you. And I want you to send unconditional love down the cord. The kind of love that they've always wanted. The kind of love which, if they had gotten in their life, maybe they would have become a different person. Maybe then they would have made different choices. Send that love down the cord and watch as love fills their body from the tips of their toes, all the way up through their legs, their thighs, all the way up through the torso, spilling into their arms, all the way out through the top of their head. And I want you to hear them say back to you, I love you. And feel unconditional love coming down the cord, the kind of love you've always desired, the kind of love you always deserve. That love coming down the cord and filling your body up with unconditional love. The pure love of the universe filling you up from the tips of your toes, all the way up through your legs. Feel it coming up through your torso, spilling into your arms, out your fingertips, and all the way up through the top of your head. Next, I want you to say, I forgive you. Realizing that we don't forgive the other person to condone what they've done. We forgive the action. This releases ourselves from the action's impact and the energy of a person who perhaps did something negative to us. Maybe not say, I forgive you, but say, I forgive you for everything that you've ever done, both consciously and subconsciously. Everything that I'm aware of, and even those things I'm not aware of. I forgive you unconditionally and send the energy of complete and total forgiveness down our connection and cord. Now watch as this message and energy fills them up from the tips of their toes, all the way through their legs, filling up their torso, spilling down into their arms and fingers, and all the way through the top of their head. Send that message within that powerful energy along that cord, that unconditional forgiveness. And note, forgiveness does not condone what they've done. It simply releases you from the bonds of the action, and that freedom is something that you deserve. Now I want you to hear them say back to you, I forgive you. I forgive you for everything that you've ever done consciously and subconsciously. Everything that I'm aware of and everything I'm not aware of. I totally and completely forgive and release you. And I want you to feel unconditional love and forgiveness coming down that cord, releasing you from everything that you've ever done to that person, even things that they are not aware of. Feel that forgiveness now coming down the cord, filling up your torso, spilling down into your toes and all the way up to your legs, filling your torso and spilling down into your fingers and arms. Total and complete forgiveness. This is releasing you from everything that you've ever done, all the way up through the tip of your head. Now, take a nice deep breath. Finally, the last step is this. I want you to say to that person, I release you. And I want you to reach up with your fingers in the shape of scissors, or a shiny sword, or even a bright neon lightsaber, whatever you feel like. You need to reach up now and cut that cord from your forehead. Watch as it falls away to the floor, and that person now begins floating up off the stage, peacefully, effortlessly. And as they say back to you, I release you, they begin to float up beyond the lights, out of the theatre, and totally and completely out of your awareness. Reach up and notice that there's still a nub on your forehead. There's enough to grab there on your forehead where you cut that cord. I want you to grab that nub with your fingertips. Apply pressure and pull it out of your body, just like roots, pulling roots out of the ground. I want you to pull that out of your body. Feel as it detaches from any place that is attached inside of your body. And feel those roots totally and completely come out. Take as long as it needs to pull them all the way out. And allow them to fall to the floor. When that's done, take a deep breath and say, thank you, subconscious mind. Notice how you feel. Notice how it feels to be free of the energy of that person, of everything they've ever done. Notice how it feels to be free to realize that your energy is yours and yours alone. And that you can cut cords again whenever you feel the need. That person doesn't drain you now. That person is no longer connected to you in this moment. And even if they reconnect down the track, you can choose to do that, and you can also choose to cut the cord anytime you want. Ho'oponopono is a beautiful process that comes from Hawaiian huna. And while it's just a tiny portion of tools we use, it is a very powerful tool. So I highly suggest that you use this with any significant connections that you've got in your life. Those connections that hurt, those connections that drain you, those connections you love. You could be like me and choose to use Hooponopono to sever every connection you've ever had on a daily or weekly basis. To refresh the energy with those that mean the most of you, but also to clear out those that you'll never see again, like the clerk at the shop. All you have to do is rewind this video or the audio back to when we're in the theatre, where the music starts, and go through the process again. It's really quite simple, isn't it? With repetition, you'll get to the point where you actually don't need my guidance to go through it anymore. You'll just simply have that person come out to the front of the stage, you'll exchange the message, exchange the energy of I love you, exchange the message and the energy of I forgive you, and then release that person. Cut the cord, pull out all the ties. It's a very simple process, but a very powerful one too. And I think you'll find that you'll actually feel quite free afterwards, okay? I think you'll feel that there's a weight lifted off your shoulders, off your body. I think you'll feel that energy flows better and it feels more clean and more happy and more pure. So do this process as many times as you think you need. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, or this audio if it's an MP3 to you. Recommend it to others if you care about them. And of course, if you're watching this on a platform that allows subscribing or liking or sharing, please push that button. It means so much to me that I'm able to help so many people that I never meet, but it's from such a simple process. So again, my name is Shannon Boyd, and as I always say, if you believe in fate, then believe in a fate by design. Your design. Aloha.